255.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had a little extra on me.
Speaking of wrestling, what makes you become a pro wrestler? Hockey player, football player? What turns you into becoming a pro wrestler?
My brother. Brothers get you in more trouble than ever. Well, anyway, Scott was at the University of Minnesota, and he started his first 2 years. His freshman year, he was a starter for the University of Minnesota, and then for 2 years he started, and then they changed coaches. The new coach, I don't know names, but he came in. He brought in, well, obviously he brought in his own talent, right? And Scott kind of got set to the side, and so basically in his senior year. He still liked football, but he was kind of disgruntled with it. And so I think he talked to, and Jim Brunzell went to the University of Minnesota. So did Vern Gagne. And somebody told him, well, maybe you should try, wrestling. Go see if Vern Gagne is having a camp. Maybe you can become a wrestler. And Scott never wrestled. I mean, as an amateur, actually, quite frankly, there is no amateur wrestling up in northern Minnesota. It's in Wisconsin, but they get a little bit of amateur up here now. But anyway, point being, he went to that camp, and Ricky Steamboat, Cosgrove Viserys, you know who Cosgrove was, right?
Yes, sir.
The Iron Sheik.
Yep.
He was running this camp for Vern. Ricky Steamboat, my brother Scott, Buck Zumhoff, Lord knows, and there were two other guys that came through. They both died relatively early in their careers from car wrecks.
Mm.
And so it was Ricky Steamboat and Scott and Buck Zumhoff. And they went through the camp. And then, so he comes out. Now he gets to, Vern sends him off places. And now about that time, Scott's getting in. I'm finishing up skating at the up here in Duluth, my hockey. I didn't make it all the way through college. I got about 2.5 years in, and coach didn't seem like to play me too much. But anyway, so one day I walked off the ice, and that was it. But then Scott said, "Hey, well, get out of Duluth. Get out of Duluth. You got to get out of Duluth." And so I said, well, he was down in Charlotte running with Ric Flair, Blackjack Mulligan, Crusher Blackwell, all the people that were down there at that time. And he says, come to Charlotte and just come and visit. Just get out of Duluth. Well, I left and went down there, and I think it was 77, and I moved home in 98. So I went down there, started, first day I'm down there, we go training, of course, everybody, wrestlers, they got to train. So we're going to go train. I think, what are we going to do? Well, we're going to do squats and sit-ups. Oh, Christ. We went over to Ric Flair's house, and we're doing squats out in the sun, I'm from northern Minnesota. We don't have any sun up here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're out in the sun in the Carolinas doing squats and sit-ups. Pretty soon I'm puking in Flair's bathroom, but anyway, got through, and then when I'm living there with Scott for a couple of months, and you start, you meet Ric Flair, that kind of, then they want, well, you want to drive me tomorrow? You drive my car. I don't want to drive out. You drive me to the building. Okay. So I'd drive some of them around. Or I'd go with Scott, and we'd go to the matches every night. Just after a little while, then pretty soon, in Charlotte, the ring was always up. I think it ran on Saturday night. So on Saturday afternoons, you could go to the ring and get in the ring. And Larry Sharp, I don't know if you know who Larry Sharp was.
Absolutely, yep.
Larry Sharp was good friends with Scott, and we would go to the ring on Saturday afternoons and go over there, and they'd beat the Jesus out of me. I get in there and try to do stuff, and we're doing stuff, and it wasn't being athletic. Yeah, it's not too hard to learn to hit the ropes. Can you flip over? Can you fall down? Can you get up? You're doing it, they're showing you how to do it. Boom, boom. And then Larry Sharp's putting the squeeze on you, trying to see if if you can take it. He's trying to, get you to say I quit or anything. But nah, I didn't do that. I don't know. I guess I was pretty limber. I don't know. He tried to reef on you and didn't, I don't know. It didn't really hurt or didn't bother me. So, finally one day we went 300 miles east. The next day we went 300 miles west of Charlotte. And I saw the same match 2 nights in a row. Same people, same match. Move for move. And I said, Scott, I just saw that one, same. And he goes, oh, you're starting to catch on, And so, yeah, so after that, then it was a matter of just learning the moves, learn the vocabulary. And I had my first match with Professor Malenko in Lynchburg, Virginia in 77, 78, I don't know, something like that. And he twisted me in knots. Didn't hurt me, but, I didn't know what I was doing. I went out there and got spun around, twisted around, picked up, slammed down, whatever. I went back in, so I'm walking back into the locker room, and Baron von Raschke looks at me and he goes, "So you want to be a wrestler, huh, kid?" I don't know. I guess I just laughed, but he's from Minnesota, and so it was kind of like that's kind of where it got started. And then Christmas showed up. We came home for Christmas and then went back down there. And that's when I think George Scott was the booker in Charlotte at the time. And they sent me to Atlanta for down there with Ole Ants and those guys. Wow. I went down there and Tommy Rich was there. Tony Atlas was there. Rick Martel was there. There were some other older guys. Jesus, I can't remember their names, but Ole was there. Gene Anderson was there. They were all going on, and so Ole, I don't know. He booked me, every week, 3-4 times a week. So started running around. Started running with Tommy Rich because we were basically the same age. I was actually older than Tommy. Tommy was fairly young, but young, good-looking kid being pushed for the title and stuff. And so we became friends and started running up and down. And Martel was there, same age. He's down out of Montreal. Kind of fit right in. Did I ever really plan on it? No, not at all. But I think I went to one wrestling match in my career in Duluth, Minnesota when I was a kid, because, Vern was on every Saturday. And I went down, and all I remember is the Alaskan was there. And he had a bullwhip.
Wow.
I think that's where I picked up. Bill picked up the bullwhip anyway.
Excellent. So speaking about your brother, unfortunately he passed at a significantly early age. How difficult is that to get over, and do you still live with it? Do you think about him often?
Oh, I talk to him all the time, Is it difficult? Yeah, it's difficult to get over. It's difficult to get through. There wasn't much that could be done. We were up in Montreal when that all set in, He thought he had a pinched nerve, and turns out to be a brain tumor. And, he went to he thought he needed a chiropractor. Kept going to doctor, and finally he went to a doctor, and they sent him over here, and then they sent him to the neurosurgeon, and it was kind of like, well, you have a brain cancer, and it was like fingers all through the brain, not just like one tumor. So they gave him a year and a half, and he lasted about a year and a half, but so Yeah, it was I don't know. It's not. It was hard to do, but there wasn't much anything that couldn't be done. So
Well,